Tomorrow brought a pasuk, right over here. 2 dots. Chav Gimel Beis. Yesterday was Chav Dalet. We have 2 Chav Dalet. It says, "Akli mitzarif mashpsochel kodesh." The kli, the vessel, consolidates whatever is in it to be seen as one entity, one for kodesh. Avalo the truma. Verses 9 immediately. Amar Rav Chanan, Doma Kro. It says by the Nesiim when they inaugurated the Mishkan. It says Kaf Achas Asora Zov Mleikatoris. So what does it say? It's the word Achas. The word Achas is superfluous. Kosev also the Kol Mashi B'Kaf Achas. To tell me that whatever's in the cup, although Katoris is particles, we see all the particles consolidated as if it's one entity. Mosav Rav Kana. So Rav Kana asks, we find Hosev Rabbi Kiva Hasoles Faktoris Falavono Agacholim. All these various Shimnogat Fulyom B'Mikzoso Poslas Kulo. That if he touches part of it, the whole thing's tummy. And we see clearly where Rabbi Kiva holds his only Drabonon. We'll see in a moment. So how could you, Reb Chanan, say it's Doraisa, quoting a pasuk, it's Drabonon? How do you see it's Drabonon? Mediktoni, Reisha, because the Reisha says, Hey, Reb Shimon ben Beseiro, Al Efa Chato Shinoga Tomi Bikzoso, Shetimi Eskulo, that if a tummy touches part of the Efa Pora, although it's particles, he can, and over there would not to Kachim Mizbeach. So evidently, you see, and the Reb Kiva says, and on that he added A, B, C, D. So you see clearly it's rabbinical. It's not a doraisa, because it would be a doraisa. It wouldn't apply to the others. Uktani Hoser Rabbi Akiva. So Reb Kiva added to that. Amrish Lokshim Kapora Lo Nitzcho El Dishori Mincha. Here, meaning when he says soulless is speaking Dishori Mincha, meaning you makriv the kemitza, the komets. What's left of what the Kohen eats, that's what we're talking about. That's drabonon, because that's not a korban that he eats, right? So what does that mean? The Raisa on a Torah level, tzorech lekli kli mitzarfo. On anything which the Raisa you need a kli, the kli consolidates it. So that's by the mincha, right? For the komets. Shein tzorech lekli, if it doesn't need a kli, ain't a kli mitzarfo. So therefore, let's say gacholim or all these other things that doesn't need a kli. So even though they're in a kli, it's only rabbinical. So the Chacham came, said, they said, although it doesn't need a kli on a Torah level, kli mitzarfo, because otherwise a person will confuse the two. Therefore, midrabanan, that's the host of Rabbi Akiva. If a poro, all these are things on a Torah level, the kli is not mitzarif. Rabbinically, it's a gzeira, therefore it is mitzarif. It consolidates. Somewhere it says, teinach soles. So soles is good, because the soles has relevance to what? Has relevance to the kmitza. Ketores levodim aikla meimar. No, just there it should be a doraisa, right? That goes on the mizbeach. Omrav Nachor, Omrav Beravuah, go Tzovron al gabe katavlo. You hear this? He didn't put it in a kli. He put it on like a mat, a leather mat. So therefore, even though it's a kli, but since it doesn't have walls to it, there's no consolidation. Doraisa yesh lo toch mitzarif. If it has a capacity to contain, right, then it consolidates it. Ein lo toch, but let's say it's just a piece of leather, right? A leather mat. Ein mitzarif. That since factually is called a kli, although it doesn't have a toch, doesn't have a capacity to contain. Mitzarif, so that's drabonon. So the case when it says ketores and lavona is what? It's drabonon. Speaking, we put it on a leather mat where the kli did not have a toch. Okay. And Rav Chanu said, learn from the pasuk that it's the Raisa by things that need a kli, which has kedushas mizbeach. He argues on Rav Chia bar Abba. Why? Rav Chia bar Abba, Rabbi Yochanan, meidushish Rabbi Akiva, from the testimony of Rabbi Akiva. Nishtis bishtazu. He says the whole Mishnah means what? Even kodesh. So we see that there's nothing on a Torah level that the kli is mitzarif. Rav Chanan holds, he brings the pasuk, something that needs a kli, it's a doraisa. What doesn't need a kli is drabonon. But since Rabbi Chia bar Abba says the whole Mishnah is what is going to Rabbi Akiva, that means even something needs a kli, it's also drabonon. Since the machlok samoroim is there such a thing as kli mitzarif, where the kli condenses it, consolidates it. Once mentioned a while back, I think David, I went and heard this. Rabbi Silpa says there's halacha that if you want to consecrate a korban, an animal, what's the status? It's called kedushas Kedushas Aguf, it's Kedushas Mizbeach. Now, what about if you have an amount of flour and you want to consecrate it to be a mincha? And you consecrate it. It doesn't have Kedushas Mizbeach. It has Kedushas Domim, meaning it has relevance to the Mizbeach, but what? Let's say you want to be poted. You want to redeem it, you can redeem it. You have to put it into the Kli. If you put it into Kli Shores, then you can't be poted any longer. Right? So if it's in the Kli, it's what? It's Kedushas Aguf, but the Kedushas Peh, the verbal consecration, cannot bring it that level. So he asks, so why by the korban, by the animal, yes? And why by the mincha, or the Ketores, no? That's his question. So he answers, but it's not so simple his answer. He says, let's say a person wants to be magdish, half a volume of flour that's needed for a mincha. It's nothing. It's Kedushas Damim. It is, but it's not a korban. So if you say flour is particles, so you need a shear. A mincha needs a shear. Now what gives it the shear? Right? So when you put it in the Kli actually consolidates it. That gives it the shear. The Kli is mitzarif. The animal is a contained entity. It's a whole entity. Therefore, by the what? By the animal, Kedushas Peh, verbalization, verbal consecration is sufficient. But by the mincha, you have to have the Kli. That's what he says. But seemingly from here we see, no, it's a machlokas amaroim. Right? According to, we just quoted Rav Chi Barabi says, he argues Reb Chanan. Right? Reb Chanan says that by mincha it's a doraisa. He says, no, it's all drabanan. So it's all drabanan, now we're back to the original question. So just as you have Kedushas HaPeh for what? For the animal, why isn't Kedushas HaPeh sufficient for the, what's it called, right? So I think you could differentiate. Even what Ramesh was saying, even Rav Chi Barabi could agree. David, you listening?
Yeah, I'm trying to work out.
But you hear what I'm asking? Yeah. So I think like it's two separate things. Here we're talking about Siruf, that if a tummy touches, even though they have separate particles or pieces, when he touches anything in the Kli, we see it as one entity. Right. Therefore, it's as if he touched every part of it. Yeah. So we're speaking within the context of Tumah, right? Here we're talking about Siruf in terms of what? In terms of shear. Is it considered one shear? The Kli is mitzaref to create a shear. So that's it. So even Rav Chi Barabi could agree to that. He agrees to it. Okay, so that, maybe you differentiate, but clearly it's not, because when Reb Chanan says his halacha, what does he quote? He quotes the thing that says kaf achas malei ketoris. Over there from a ketoris. Ketoris is the same as the flour for mincha. He's not speaking within the context of tumah. He's speaking now within the context of what is brought as one entity, right? So if that's the case, it should be the same. So that's the difficulty that I have.
I mean, the more, the Mishnah and Edger should have, obviously there was a long-standing disagreement about it.
The Edges is all, it's Tanoim, it's not a Moroim. No. They were arguing. No, they were arguing in Rabbi Akiva. No, they're arguing what Rabbi Akiva is talking about. Right? That's he says. Reb Chanan says he's speaking more specific case, like originally. The soles is what was left over the Kohen. Right? Rav Chi Barabi says no, the whole thing's drabanan. There's no such thing as kli mitzaref on a Torah level. So according to him, I said, how do we understand why by korban, by an animal, the Kedushas Peh, verbal consecration is sufficient, the other it's not sufficient. Okay? Daf is fragen. My Rishiva always used to say this remains Simcha over. Heard it many times, right? What, it remains Simcha? I coach him. No, my Rishiva knew every Remains Simcha, every single Remains Simcha. It's a famous story. Shiva, in Europe, when it first was published, you couldn't get it. So they had one copy in Slabotka. So one night, he stayed up a whole night, and he went through the Sefer by moonlight. It was a full moon, middle of the month, 15th of the month. And he stayed up a whole night outside because there was no lights in there. And he went through the whole thing. And from that, he retained it all.
But didn't your Rosh Hashiva write a coaching when he was 18?
Yeah, separate. Yeah. And Tyrus. Okay. Tanya. Something like Howard. Tanya. Om Reb Yossi Minayin l'Revi b'Kodesh. The Mishnah says that by Kodesh, you have Rishon, Sheni, Shlishi is what? Each one contaminates it. The fourth is Posel, right? You can't go beyond 4, right? It's Tomei, but it can't pass it on. Can't contract it from there, right? Rabbi Yosef said, but how do we know? Minayin l'Revi b'Kodesh u'Posel. How do we know? V'dinu, he says it's based on a Kal V'chomer. Uma b'chusik Kippurim, shemuta b'tshuma. B'chusik Kippurim, person, let's say, is a Yoledis, right? Or a Zav. And he went to the mikveh. He's permitted to eat truma. But kochim, he has to bring a korban before he eats the kochim. So ma b'chusik Kippurim, shemuta b'tshuma, posul b'kodesh. If he's posul, he doesn't contaminate kodesh. He's posul b'kodesh. Posul b'kodesh. Shlishi sheposul b'truma. 1 second. Eino din. Shosar Revi b'kodesh. Again. Ma b'chusi shemuta b'truma posul b'kodesh. B'kodesh. Shlishi sheposul b'truma. But yet we find shlishi by truma, right? Shlishi by truma is posul. It's not tomei, right? First and second, it's tomei. The third is posul. Eino din she'asar Revi l'kodesh. That we have shlishi b'kodesh, that's in the pasuk. So what's the kal v'chomer coming for? The kal v'chomer comes to extend it. So extend it from 3. See, if I only have the pasuk.
You're learning out A from B. You can't learn that B is that much greater than
No,
A.
so that Rashi talks about. That's called dialogue with the Lius Knedam. But the Gemara says, he quotes the Gemara Bava Kama Rashi, that whenever you have a kal v'chomer, and the kal v'chomer is unnecessary, and yet the Torah writes a pasuk. So what did the Torah write a pasuk? So evidently, the kavod is to teach you to go to the next step. That's what Rashi explains. Because Rashi, it's dialogue min adin. It's limited to what you do. All the variables. You can't go beyond the variables. So that he says no, because for the variables you have a pasuk. So what's the value of the kal v'chomer? Evidently, take to the next step. Or so that's what he says. Shlishi l'kodesh minat. That's the pasuk. I have a pasuk, but yet I have a kal v'chomer. So what is the kal v'chomer? The answer is to extend it. Urevi b'kal v'chomer, shlishi l'kodesh min ha'Torah. Minayin. How do you know shlishi is min ha'Torah? That you have a shlishi based on psukim. The chsiv, it says ha'gubosa sheyiga b'chol tomei. Bosa is speaking about the bosa kochim. It says bosa that touches any tomei. I have a call from Israel. 2 seconds. It's definitely
stronger.
But how do you know that you can't take it further?
How much?
Yeah. So the Gemara says, and so how do I know? Where do I know that the shlishi b'kodesh, based on the psukim? So Gemara says, excuse me, yeah, minayin, shlishi l'kodesh min haTorah minayin. The chsiv, it says abosa she'iga b'chol tomei lo yeochel. The meat of the kodesh that touches any tomei, you cannot eat it. Milo askina the noga b'sheni. Are we speaking to touch the sheni? Ukamer achmona liyochel. Now, why is it talking to touch the sheni? Because if it touches a rishon, it's understood. Even chulin touches, right, is a sheni. So evidently, it touches a rishon, right? A rishon makes a sheni by chulin. So why does Torah have to tell me by kochim that it's tomei? It can't be worse than chulin. So evidently, what are we talking about? It even touched a what? A sheni. The sheni makes a shlishi. So Revi, Mikal V'chomer, Hodamor, and so how do I know Revi? That's the answer. I have a Kal V'chomer. Because I already have a Pasuk for Shlishi, so what's the value of the Kal V'chomer? Evidently, it's to take this next step.
Who can't become a shlishi? It can only be a sheni.
Yeah, but kochim can. Kochim.
So he's treating kachim like food.
Kochim is food. It's food.
That's
You eat
what
it.
I'm saying. Is that where he's going? Is that
No. It can't be worse than regular food. Can't be worse. It's something you eat. So what's the chiddush? Torah has to tell me it's tummy. Of course it's tummy. Even by chulin it's tummy. So evidence coming to tell me it's one step more than chulin.
Right.
More than chulin. Chulin you can't go beyond sheni. By kochim you go to shlishi. So, but I have a kal v'chom on top of that. The kal v'chom extends it one more step. That shlishi is metame. Revi is only posul. Right? It's good. It says ubetrume b'nit beis. Now it says if a person touches, he has one hand tameh, not washed, one hand washed, and he touches kochim. What's the halacha? He's metame to kochim. He has to wash both hands.
Right.
But if what? But if for kochim, but for truma he doesn't. He could touch it with the hand that's. So now Omer Rav Shizvi b'chibur and when it says in the Mishnah that if he touches the truma, even with the hand that's not tameh, he passes the truma. We'll finish in a few minutes. He invalidates the kochim. That's only when, look, he has two hands. Let's say his right hand is tameh. He didn't wash. His left hand was washed.
Okay.
And he goes like this. So the hand that's touching the kochim is the hand that's washed.
Good.
The hand that's not is the hand that's on top of that. So that's what the Mishnah says. When they're together, bechiburin, they're touching, that's when you passel the kodesh. Why? So Rashi explains, because it's a gzeira. Because there's a concern, if the hands are touching, you may watch, you may touch it with the tummy hand. But let's say the hands are separated, and you would touch it with one hand, which is not tomei. Rav Shizi says everybody, even b'kodesh, it will not be invalidated. Okay? So Amar Rav Shizi b'chuburin shana, b'shlo b'churin lo. Esei Abai asks. It says yad neguva. Yad neguva means a dried hand. Hand mitame chaverto, mitame kodesh. A dry hand that's not washed touches the hand that was washed. Okay? It contaminates it. So what are we talking about? It has nothing to do with touching. They're not touching. It's not because because here we're saying even though they touched, if you separate the hands afterwards, the hand that was Torah retains its tyra. It's only because there's a concern you may touch the kodesh with the tummy hand. But it's avo lo l'truma divrei Rebbe. Rabbi Yosef Yehuda Omer lifso avo lo tami. It'll passel it, but it won't be matami it. Iyam Rabbi Shlomo Shlo b'chiburin. If you tell me that it contaminates, even the hand that's Torah is already contaminated. Hainu Rebu say the neguva, that's the chiddush neguva, that even though it's dry and you can't contract tuma from dry to dry, Eliyamed b'chiburin, in shlo b'churin lo, my Rebu say the neguva, what's the chiddush? What's the reason why? What's the reason why when it's matami? Because there's a concern you may touch the kodesh with the contaminated hand. There it's understood. It makes no difference dry or wet. Right? The kochim. So what's the chiddush of what? My rebusid in the guva. What's aleph? Pega. Yeah. The Maran's break. Itmanami. Let's see if the goes. Itmanami. Amr Reb Shimon Lokish, Lo shanu elo yodo, Avo yad chavero lo. Yeah? When we say one hand contaminates another, let's say one hand is tummy, one hand is Torah. So if his tummy hand touches his Torah hand, he validates it. But let's say a third party his hand touches the Torah, it won't invalidate it. V'yochanan amar, echod yodo echod yad chavero. Yeah? Doesn't make a difference. It contaminates. Okay, 1 second. Rabbi Yochanan echad yod v'echad yad chavero. Ba'ose yad lifsol avalo l'tami. You hear this? When we say the hand that's matami, let's say the hand that's tummy touches somebody else's hand. That hand is the hand that originally is which is tummy, will be matami the kodesh. What about if somebody's hand touches my hand? But my hand never touched tumah. Right. So my hand contracted it from somebody, and that hand touches kodesh, it will be possible, it would not be tummy. The other person, I washed my hand originally. Now somebody touches my hand. That hand will only invalidate the kodesh, not to pass it on. The other person's hand, who he never washed it, When he touches that kodesh, the kodesh is tummy. Okay? Avalo l'tami mimai. How do you know this? Miritoni seifo sheyad mitami chaverta l'kodesh. It says in the Mishnah, the hand is mitame. It's of the hand l'kodesh. Avalo l'truma hasul bamli. Hayton l'reisha. It already says in the rei elav shmamino lasu yad chavero. V'afri shlokish hodavei. Rish Lakish retracted, and he concurred with Rabbi Yochanan that not only is one hand contaminate the other, even the third party's hand will contaminate your hand. Why? It's very, very pushing as far. If your hands, the way we rule, if your hands are separated, not one hand's tamei, the other hand's tar. We for kodesh we look at both the hands of tamei, even shlo b'chaburim. No, because accidentally, so the same thing. Wait. No. Let's say his hand touches my hand. So the person will say, look, if my hand contaminates, so why his hand, when he touches the trum, why the kodesh, why doesn't it contaminate? So evidently, you see, you could touch kodesh. We're just extending the gzeira. There is no end to it. No, but it's true. As many hands who touch, they're all tummy, and that you're going to invalidate the kodesh. Because people will say, if the hand originally invalidates it, that's the source. So, and it doesn't, so why does the original hand not do? Yes. So people start differentiating. It becomes a problem. Here, how do we know he retracted? Yoda says, Rabami Shlokish echad yodo v'yad chavero bosei yad lifso avalol tamei. Right? Avalol tamei v'lifso avalol tamei. Now it says v'lifso avalol tamei tanoi. That's about machlokes tanoi. Ditnan kol apostle b'truma metami yodayin. Anything that invalidates truma, right, is metami yodayin. Leos shnios, to be a sheni. V'yad metami chaverta diribishua, and the hand contaminates its fellow. V'chamomru yodu shnios hein. Yeah. Then sheni also shteinik. A sheni. So let's say one person's hands touch a third person's hand. So if my hand's a sheni can't make a sheni, because the hands can't be more than a sheni. There's no such thing as shlishi by your hand. So if that's the case, you can't pass it on. My lav sheni hud lo ovid, o shlishi ovid. Dilma lo sheni ovid lo shlishi. El kantanoi detanyo. Okay, we'll stop here.